Hi everybody, for those of you who were with me at Max in Under the Sea Part 1, we did not get a chance to do the sea turtle, so I thought I'd make a quick video. I will pre-warn you there is one spot where it didn't record, so please forgive me, but I think we can get through it and you will handle and just dominate this turtle with no problems. Sally Ann palette, Craze palette, various brushes. We're going to go ahead and get started. I always seem to gravitate towards an angle brush. It seems to be my favorite for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. I think we all have a favorite brush, but I'm creating the socket of the eye by making a backward C and then a forward C, and then I'm just closing it off. So I'm creating the bottom of the face and then filling it in, and then I'm going to come up to the top, close that off, creating the forehead of the turtle. And so you'll see when I get finished, I basically have the shape of the turtle's head with the eye sockets right there ready. It's a cartoon turtle. It doesn't have to be perfect. I am going to be creating the outline of the body by simply doing 2 U's, and then I'm going to put the placement in for the legs. That's 1 U. That's a 2nd U. I'm going to wrap it around the top of the eyebrow. And then I'm going to go ahead and look at where I want the placement for each one of its legs. For a face that you're doing, it's really going to depend on how much space you have. If you have a child with a shorter forehead versus a person with a larger forehead, you will see that this turtle could take a very different shape. All I'm doing is using the 1 stroke. I'm filling everything in. I'm going to create the little flappers right here. Again, just filling that in. And you're starting to have the outline of your turtle. For those of you who are really good with 1 stroke, this turtle could be a breeze simply because you're used to doing 1 stroke. And once you get the idea of how to create this turtle, it becomes very easy. Moving over to a 5/8 inch angle brush, I'm going to go ahead and pick up some color off of the Craze palette. I decided to change colors here at the last minute, but sometimes that's what artists do. We think we're going to use one color and then we go into another. I'm basically creating a rainbow shape, and it is just a small hump coming around. That's going to be the shell of the turtle, and I'm just going to fill that in. As I said, you can create a tail if you want to. On this particular cartoon turtle, I like to put a little bit of the shell up underneath the body. Remember I told you you can add the tail? We can go ahead and add the tail right here with that smaller angle brush. You could have done it prior, or you could have done it here. Either or, it doesn't really make a difference. Now I'm going to create the pupils of the eye. Remember, when you're making cartoon eyes, the bigger the better, the more cartoony it looks. And so all I'm doing is I'm creating some very big black pupils, and then I'm going to be creating some color around the eye. I typically like to use like a light brown, but I think for this turtle we'll use a blue, like a baby blue. And then of course we're going to come around that with some white. So I'm just taking a number 2 and coming right around. By the way, the brushes that I'm using are Alea. I like the Alea brushes. I buy them from Brushes and More. If you're here in the United States and you like the Alea brushes, that's where I buy them from. And for me, they just work great. Oh, and here's where you caught me. This is where I forgot to hit the record button, where I outlined the turtle. So basically all I did was I made an outline all the way around the turtle, and the mouth is simply kind of like this little shallow W, and then I put little tick marks, kind of like little U's, up around the eye and up underneath just to accentuate. I decided I didn't really like the color that I was seeing with a shell, so I'm putting yellow on top of it. Now the color up underneath is going to come out just a bit, and so it's not going to be too dark and it's not going to be too light, but it's going to have a blended look here in just a second. Just so you know, when you create this turtle, you don't have to create all of these circles. It's almost like a circle you would do in a butterfly, but I like that particular look with the shell. And I'm using the topaz stencil, and I am using this texture to create some looks right here in the forehead. I'm also going to be doing it on the turtle fins. I just love having that extra texture. I think it brings life to your character. And so you can see I'm just adding it here. I'm going to add it to this upper part, and then I'm also going to add it right over to that back leg as well. So see, you see what I'm saying? It just brings some life when you're adding that texture to your turtle. As far as reptile textures, there's a lot of different ones. Carrie has different choices for you with topaz stencils. I like this one, it works out well. I didn't quite get all of those textures in, so I'm just kind of using my brush to fill in where I missed. And then, of course, I'm just defining some of my lines to make them a little bit stronger so that face pops out even more. And now we are going to add the final touches by adding some white for the highlights around the eye, around the mouth, just anywhere where you think that light would shine upon it. Highlights just make a turtle pop. And by the way, for some of you who like to do sponge work, you could do this turtle using a sponge, creating the legs and the body, and then just doing the outline. That's possible too if you wanted to try it and do it a little bit quicker. The only reason I tend to use an angle brush is because I like the crispness of the lines. And you can see right there in the legs, I've added a few little squiggly lines just to where the legs would fold. Turtles are not perfect in their body. They do have quite a few wrinkles. They're very cute though. So there you go. Now we have got some highlights added. And next, what I'm going to be doing is I'll be looking to add some waves right over to the left side of this design. Make sure to add the pops of the white, the little sparkle in the turtle's eye. I tend to use 2 dots. Some people like to use 3. Some people just 1. But I do like to use 2 dots. And I think this just makes the eye stand out even more. We are going to finish up this turtle by using a filbert, creating some teardrops with some blue to simulate the ocean and water waves. I've got 2 tones in this. And again, I'm using a larger filbert, creating larger teardrops. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking some white and highlighting what I consider to be foams on top of those waves. Now you can bring the blue up here to this side too, but I think just for this demonstration, that's all we're going to do. Again, I'm just going to use the filbert, and I'm going to tap some white in it, and just like that, just tap, 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 and you can see it's almost like a foam from the sea where the water is splashing. And that's really all we're doing, is we're creating a little bit of a look, and you can change this however you want. If you don't want to have the water waves in it, you don't have to. If you want more water waves in it, you absolutely can. If you want to bring the water to the other side to balance the design, you can as well. Adding a few bit of, sparkles, because sparkles always make everyone happy. This is it for the design. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.